So after school, pretty much every day, I think it was 4 or 5 times a week, me and my friend would go from school, get the bus at the bottom of the hill, and go to the gym after school. Now, our school finished at about 4 o'clock, which was super late, to be honest, for a school. And we had detention pretty much every day. So we used to go to the gym at around half 5, 6 o'clock, depending on if we missed the bus or not. And my friend that I used to go with, we were both the same age in the same year, and he was Jamaican. Well, his grandma and granddad were Jamaican. He was born in England, but he's Jamaican heritage. Do you know what I'm saying? And we used to go to the gym, not know what we were doing. We used to do like full body days, so we'd do like chest press, shoulders, back, legs, all probably not even legs, to be honest, all in the same day. And if that doesn't sound bad enough, as far as the food we were eating, both of us knew fuck all about eating. We used to eat the same lunch at school at 12 o'clock, and then we wouldn't have a meal even up until the gym. So around 6 hours with no food. And sometimes we'd be that hungry where we'd get off the bus and the bus would be right outside the co-op. And we used to go steal loads of sweets and chocolate and shit and eat that before the gym. Don't judge us. We were just two broke, retarded kids. Yeah. 14, 15. And we used to eat this before the gym. So that was the pre-workout meal. And then whatever we had for lunch, which the lunch would have been something decent, but with that long ago, it's like you're not getting the energy from it for training. And then we used to lift in the gym and we used to go around, learning bits by bit and, asking people for advice and stuff like that. And we used to do the same exact exercises, but he was always way stronger than me. Same diet, same training, same everything, right? We were literally together all day because we both went to the same school. The only thing that had been different is the breakfast. But let me tell you something. The physique that this guy had, like, he looks better than I look now as a grown man at like 14, 15. Like, his chest were just absolutely filled out, like the proportions of his muscle, shredded with abs as well. I didn't even have abs at this point. And his physique was just like, it was just stacked. It was just stacked, and he was growing, even off eating sweets and chocolate before the gym. So before we get into this 10 years of training advice video, the biggest piece of advice that I can give you is be Jamaican. Yeah, that's going to be get some Jamaican genetics. That's going to be your top way, your top training tip from me. If you want to get in sick shape, just be Jamaican. But for you white boys and Indians out there, yeah, listen up, and the Chinese, listen up. I'm going to break down 10 years worth of experience in the gym. And look, if you want to go for somebody who's not made any mistakes, that's not me. Trust me, I have fucked up. I've had years of no progress. I've made all the diet mistakes, all the training mistakes. I've done all different types of training, from Muay Thai, lifting, CrossFit, endurance, long distance running, whatever, and a mixture of all and above, right? And look, I see so many people getting confused around training. Listen, I'm not one of these chicken and rice bros. Never really weighed my food, never really counted the calories. And this methodology I'm going to share with you right now, this is a new way to do things. It makes things easier for you. You don't have to do all this planning, and it's a lot more simple. It's a lot more simple, and it's like a new modern way of doing things because you can put it around your lifestyle. And this isn't going to be a technical way each gram of rice. Because look, yeah, have you ever met someone who wears out ketchup? I just look at that and I just think I'd rather be dead. Like, why would you do that? Why would you do that? Like, I get it. Yeah, if if you're so methodical, you're going to make all these little incremental gains, but it's like it comes at the cost of your life. That's completely against what I do, right? I don't want to live like that, but I still want to be in shape. And this is exactly how I do it. And look, you'll see, like, I can show you pictures of over the years. Your body will change to the stress that you put it under. It will absolutely change. So even here's just a few pictures. I mean, here you can see this is probably the most shredded I've ever been. It's pretty difficult to get this shredded, to be honest. Like, you're eating low food. I lost a lot of gains at this point, but look, the more shredded you get, the better your gains are going to look. Here is where I turn into a bit of a long distance runner, and you can just see I am wasting away. This is not a good physique. But I was lifting, and then I'd go on a long distance run at like 10K, 15K every single weekend, and then I'd do Muay Thai after the gym. So yeah, it was fun and it sounds cool, yeah, but you're making no progress. You're just making no progress. This was pretty good shape I was in, like decent muscle mass, not super lean, but decent muscle mass. This is where I'm a little bit more bulky. Not the best photo. Body fat's not too bad. And then this is where I'll do Muay Thai. This is a nice shape. Ideally, I want to be around this lean, but a little bit more muscular. I mean, this is a good photo, but I want to be a little bit more muscular. Look, the first thing that I want to touch on, and look, understand these principles, because the worst position that you can be in is the guy giving 80% for years. Because let me tell you the problem with 80%. You've just got to think, if you need 3,000 calories to maintain your body weight and you need 3,300 to grow, if you're consistently eating 3,000 calories, let me tell you something, that's still the same time in the meal prep. You still feel like you're eating pretty much the same. It's still the same amount of sacrifice. It's still the same amount of hours in the gym. It's still the same amount of everything and all the pain, but you're not getting the result because you're giving 80%. But the gains aren't made in the 80%, the gains are made in the 100%. And it's as simple as that, really. That's the perfect analogy to use, because if you don't eat in a surplus, you will not grow. And that is just the top and bottom of it. And the thing is, if you're in 80% and you're not tracking things, I'm not saying you need to, track your food every single day. I'm going to share with you some alternatives here. But you do not want to be the guy that's putting 80% of the work in, because you're putting 80% and getting zero. Whereas if you just forced yourself to get that last meal in, that last few hundred calories, that last little bit of training, that last rep, that last 2 reps, then you're going to be making the actual progress, and it doesn't feel like you're doing any more. So this is the concept that I carry around with me at all times. Like, I ask myself, like, am I actually doing them 100%? Because look, I've had 1-2 years time before where I've stayed the same weight, but I've never missed a gym session, and I've still been dieting, but I'm not eating enough. That's the problem. And you don't want to be making all the sacrifice without getting the result. Because what this also does is it makes you feel psychologically, this is the wrong spelling, by the way. It makes you feel psychologically unconfident, because you get confidence by putting effort into something, getting the result from it. That's where you start building the momentum, right? So let's say you were trying to lose weight and you were a little bit overweight. If you started walking every day and you saw that you've lost some weight, then you're going to be more likely to keep losing the weight because you've seen the result. Now, when you're doing 80%, your mind sort of starts saying to you, like, you're doing the work, but you're not getting the result. Like, you can't do this. You're doing something wrong. You don't know what it is because you think you're doing the work, but you're just not doing that last little bit to see the actual result. So this is a principle that I follow, and I bear this in mind at all time. I'm always asking myself, is this 100% or is it 80%? And when you just start doing that little bit extra, that is where you will start seeing the results. Okay. Now, this is how you get 100% out of your training. So the vast majority. Listen, I am not a natural preparation person, but I've noticed where my triggers are, and the majority of your training, and if you want to be hitting that 100%, the majority of the results is in the preparation. And this is within your time and your food. So you need to give yourself enough time, and you need to be able to prepare your food properly. Now, I do not do meal prep. I do not do meal prep. That is not for me. I would not dare do that. Yeah, you're probably going to get a few more results, but that is just not for me. I don't think that's cool. I don't like it. I don't think you need to do it. But one thing that I do is I always prepare and have in my mind my training block. When am I training? Am I giving myself enough time for food around training? Have I got the food in the house? Am I going shopping on a consistent basis? Do I need to do my shopping before I go to the gym so I've got the meal afterwards? This is where you're going to really set yourself up for success and making real gains. And when you sort of start thinking about your training and your diet and your fuel in pretense, and you're thinking about it for the future, that is where it's going to get a lot more easier. And this will turn into a habit, but you have to be able to prepare. Because if you're letting I could show you my cupboards right now. there's nothing in there in terms of bullshit food, because I know that if I let myself get hungry and I've got bullshit food in, it's all getting ate. I would be a fat person. I would be a fat person. Like, I get why people are fat. Honestly, I've got no self control when it comes to food in the house. I've got no self control, and I love to eat bullshit. I swear. But because I prepare, and because I know my triggers, and because I've always got healthy food in that is in conjunction with my diet plan, I know that the result is can be made. I'm increasing the chances of the result being made because it's all been done in the preparation. Now, look, the next thing is follow a plan. I've done this intuitive training before. What I used to do for a long time. I didn't really grow enough because I used to just go in the gym. I'd start off lifting heavy, but majority of my workout would just be like straight pumping my muscles. And yeah, I got like the sickest pump ever every single day. Yeah, and it was sick training feeling, but I wasn't making gains. I wasn't lifting heavy enough. So it wasn't until I actually got an actual plan where I was like, right, now now I'm actually making progress. And look, you don't have to follow a plan down to a T. However, it's good to do it for a fair few weeks or a month or so, just to the point of you remembering the training. Because when you get to the point of you remembering the training, you don't have to worry and you're not getting deviated. So when you remember it and you've actually got a plan to follow, that's where you're going to be able to really start understanding where you're making progress, and you're going to be able to put your body under the same amount of stress all the time, and increase the stress, right? Now, another thing is use shame and dark energy to your advantage. People don't like to talk about this. Yeah, I literally say to myself when I'm really getting into the sets, I really start trying to grit my teeth and get angry, and I literally be saying to myself in my own mind that they're laughing at you, Theo, they're laughing at you, and it's that way. You've got to find what you've got to try and make yourself angry. Yeah, but if someone said some offhand shit to you, yeah, if someone said something to you at some point in your life and it's bothered you, but pull that up, use it. If someone's made a negative comment to you, use that thing, right? Use that thing to your advantage, because then it's a gift. And they thought they were doing you a disjustice. But really, they're giving you fuel that you can use for years. I genuinely do that. I genuinely think about when people have said bullshit to me when I'm training. And that's just going to get you pushing. It's just going to keep you pushing to that extra. And the shame part as well. I mean, you've got to up your standards. Like, you've got to up the level of standard that you want to be. Like, I've decided to myself, like, it's not acceptable for me to have anything but abs. Like, even when I'm putting on muscle or whatever, I've always got to have abs. And I've got a certain body weight that I've got in mind, and I don't like to fluctuate too far under that body weight. And if I do start failing, I feel shame. I'm ashamed of myself, because you should be. If you're a fat person, you should be ashamed of yourself. It's true. It's true, because you're making decisions every single day based on your selfishness. It's not for the betterment of anybody else. It's just your selfishness. And it's not a bad thing to use shame. Use it as your motivation. If you're looking at it like, oh, fuck that, I don't want to be this guy, I don't want to be this girl, I don't want to be this person. Well, use it to your advantage. The thing is with motivation, right? People think that they just need motivation all the time. Well, motivation's a positive emotion. Positive emotions, they're fleeting. They come for a little bit. Yeah, but your negative emotions are going to be there more. So use your negative emotions, because the potency is the same, yeah? If you're really motivated and you're ready to go, or you're really angry and you're ready to go, that energy force, it's the same. So if you're able to contain it and put it towards something, that is where you're going to get a direct benefit out of your training. And look, furthermore, people look at training like, oh yeah, I might start going to gym, I might go this week. I mean, if you're a young man and you're not training, it's as essential as drinking water. It's like sleeping 8 hours a day. It's a natural human tendency to be training. Like, look what your ancestors did. If you're not training, your body's not working properly, your mind's not working properly. It's unnatural. Like, you're not going to have the same energy. You're not going to have the same mindset. And for me personally, if I didn't train, I would not be able to go through half the shit I've been through. Really not, because that's always an outlet you've got. It's a social thing you've got. It's always something where you feel like you're progressing, something you can take your anger out, somewhere you've got to be every single day, and somewhere you're making progress. And ultimately, it's natural, it's good for you. So don't be looking at training like it's a nice thing to do, or I might do it, or it's not optional. It's only in this comfort modern world that people think that you don't have to train because they've got Uber Eats on tap. Well, what do you think used to happen? Well, you used to have to go to hunt for food, didn't you? So yeah, you might be thinking, well, it's not them times anymore, right? But that's what your body is accumulated for. Your body is adapted to that. It's not adapted to the modern day. It takes millions of years for a body to adapt. It's been 20 years the internet's been around. So when you're seeing 20-year-old men or boys, yeah, because they are boys with high estrogen and bitch titties and bad skin, you got to be thinking, what is going on here? Well, it's a completely new lifestyle that nobody's used to. So, people, there's a lot of people, more people into training, and they're really into it, and then the people who are not into it are really not into it. So I would not be looking at training like, oh, yeah, it's a nice thing to do, I might do it. You have to do it, and it's your duty to do it, because ultimately you can't give the best quality of yourself to other people if you're not in shape. So yeah, some might say a little bit extreme, but I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. The next thing is, this is something I always use in my mind, and I always say to myself, like, look, you don't, there's been times where I've been in amazing shape and not followed a diet plan, and I don't need to. If I really want to level it up, I have to start, you do have to start dieting and following a proper training plan if you want to really level it up, but you can be in amazing shape just sort of winging it. And if I am in the winging it mode, because sometimes you go through seasons of your life where you've not really got the time for all the extra bits in the gym. Everybody's got time for the gym, by the way. Let me just say that. Everybody's got time for the gym. You've got time for what you make priorities for. If the gym's not, if training is not your priority, then you're never going to have time for it. But if it's your priority, which it should be, because it's natural to your body working and your mind working and functioning properly, then you've always got time. Let me just say that, right? So don't come here with no bullshit. I ain't got time to train. Okay. But this concept, if you do go through one of these busy periods in your life, and let's say, you're eating round about the right stuff and you're just hitting the gym 3-4 times a week, which is still pretty good, to be honest. That's still sufficient if you want to stay in shape. This thing that I have in my mind, where it's never shave a single second, this keeps me in shape, and it sort of negates the fact that you have to be so critical. Now, when I'm saying never shave a second, let's say you're on the treadmill and you go on it for 15 minutes, if it's summer and you're getting a little bit warm, by 7 minutes, you finally hit 7 minutes, you're like, fuck me, it's only halfway through. And you're thinking, right, do I need, and then your mind starts going, do I need to finish this? In 5 minutes, what's that going to matter? It doesn't matter, whatever. Then it gets up to 12 minutes and you're like, fucking hell, well, that's a decent amount. I'm over 10 now. It's pretty much 15, and then it gets to 40. Look, most people just strike out, right? Out. Now, when you're watching that clock, if you decide 15 minutes, yeah, you do not get off that treadmill until it stays 15 minutes. Not 14:57, not 14:58, not 14:55, not 14:59. 15 minutes. And look, you might say the seconds don't matter, and the seconds are not going to make a difference. However, you do not want to be negotiating with yourself. Okay, you want to build this willpower up in your mind, and you do that by following things to a T, because you don't want your mind knowing, right, it's okay to shave it off, because a second turns into 5 turns into 30 turns into a minute, and then all of a sudden you shave off, and then you shave off the reps, and then you're doing a little bit less outside of work, and then you turn into one of these people who just thinks it's acceptable to shave. But let me tell you something. The winners and the people that are living a high quality and are high quality, they do not shave the seconds. They go all the way, regardless of how you fucking feel. And this is a little easy way to build self-respect, build your willpower, and just be way stronger minded. And this might seem like a little thing. Maybe it's just a little 10, 15-minute cardio session at the end of every workout, right? But this will bleed into other areas of your life. This will really bleed into other areas of your life. Now, this might be the same. Let's say you join a CrossFit class. and you're all independent. I tell you what, I'll tell you an example of this. I used to go to this Muay Thai gym, right? And I used to go 4 or 5 times a week, and there used to be a lot of fat young lads in there. Now, at the time, this was probably when I was in one of my best cardio states, very physically fit, decent muscle mass. I'm just very in shape, and I used to do Muay Thai every day, and we used to do the pads and then spar afterwards. We used to do 3 rounds of each, and there'd be a warm up, and in the warm up, the coach should do the same warm up every single day, and it'd be a variation of press ups, jumping up and down, and sit ups, and then leg raises. Just getting everyone warmed up, and it'd just be one after the other or at random. And then we'd also do a variation of it in between the pad rounds. Now, what we'd see is I'd see me doing the press ups, and then I'm seeing lads get up. And these lads are like 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, all fat. And they're all finishing way before me on the press ups and sit ups and the pads. And I'm thinking, there's no way you are finishing before me. Like, I'm not being funny, bruv. I could run half a marathon on a hangover, and you look like you'd be out of breath getting to the top of the stairs. Like, let me just say it how it is. So I used to look at him and think, you're just doing it to yourself. Like, it's just an impossibility. And then that's why you look like that, because you think that's acceptable to do that. There's no way that I should be more out of breath considering I'm way fitter than you. And this isn't just, oh, look, everybody look at Theo. Yeah, I'm talking about mindset, proper mindset here. Yeah. Obviously, they were younger guys, but they just didn't have that mindset. But it was very clear in the result of the person that was doing it, what they had. Like, you could see the result of that type of mindset. And it's those little things that you pick up on. And that's the reason why they look how they look. And look, I'm not in the best shape ever. I've made a lot of mistakes for a long time, but these principles resolved those. You know, when I shaved it, and when I thought, oh, I'll just eat that extra little bit of flapjack or something because I'm bulking, or I'd justify this bullshit food I was eating. Well, the result of that is I'd end up too fat. And you don't want to be ending up too fat because it just ruins your bulk. So that's the position I was in. And yeah, look, if you start following this principle, you're going to build self-respect like you wouldn't believe. And at first, you're not really going to notice a difference. But when you're always carrying around this thing, it's like the devil and angel on your shoulder. You know, the devil's telling you to take it easy, shave it off, get off the treadmill. You've done enough. You're busy. You've got stuff to do. You need to get home. You've got this project that you need to finish. You know, it's mental what your mind will justify. Okay. But when you start building this self-discipline and self-respect and willpower, oh, wow, you're going to start walking through life differently. Yeah, you're going to be happening to life, not life happening to you. Trust me, it all starts with this. And training's a perfect thing because training's something that you're doing on a consistent basis. So you're always able to sort of build up this credibility with yourself because you can do it every day. It's something you can practice every day. You know? And then it's like, right, you know, when you start developing this mindset, when you get up in the morning, you're getting up at the same time. Yeah? You get up at the same time. Then you start working a little bit earlier. And then you get more work done, and then your year looks better. It's crazy how this stuff works. And honestly, if you are 100% honest with yourself, you'll know if you do this or not. You will know. Just be honest with yourself and change it. This is another thing. Never dirty bulk, right? Look, I've had arguments with people who justify the dirty bulk. I'm not eating enough. I'm eating too much. I ain't got enough gains. I ain't got time yet. Look, listen. No matter how much muscle mass you've got, physique you've got, right? If you're fat, it looks shit. Okay. And probably the worst part with it is a dirty bulk. It plays with your mind because when you're in a bulk and you're trying to put weight on, when you start looking shit and feeling shit about yourself, you're gonna stop. You're gonna want to do a cut. You're not gonna want to take it as far. But in reality, it's just you've not got the discipline. And what you end up doing is having to lose too much weight, and then you lose some gains, and then you're too skinny, and then you're in this cycle of bulk cut. You don't want to be that. Just don't dirty bulk. There's never a muffin's not doing anything for you. Yeah. Honestly, you like go to the gym. You go to a public gym now. There's so many fat people there. You see them for months and months. You look at them. You think, what are you actually doing? Like, what do you do? And you only need to be in a slight surplus to grow. You don't have to be way over your maintenance calories. Like, otherwise, everyone would be trying to eat 10,000 calories a day. Like, one of the fattest people that I know says that he genuinely thinks this, that, you know, if you want to put more weight on, you just train more and eat more. Well, there's a certain level. There's a certain level, right? Because if you're eating too many calories, you're going to put too much weight on. You need to just be in a surplus for the muscle to grow and be eating the right nutrients. Next thing, look, everyone thinks that it's down to, there's so many things and reasons that people make to why they're not making gains. And I've had this mentally before, right? I'm thinking, what, you know, I'm lifting, I'm eating, why am I not growing? Or that I've stopped growing, I need to change my training up. I'm not, should I lift a low rep range? Should I lift high rep range? What am I doing wrong? But if you're not making gains, it's down to these three things, yeah. You're not training intense enough, i.e., you're not lifting heavy enough, you're not doing enough cardio, you're not training consistently, you're not lifting to where it actually hurts to grow. Number two, you're either not eating enough, right? I mean, let's say you're not losing weight. Well, you're eating too much, or you're not doing enough cardio. Okay, if you're not putting on weight, then you're not eating enough. You might be thinking, "Oh, Theo, I'm eating 3,000 calories a day." You know, amount of times people have said this to me. I'm eating 3,000 calories a day. I'm like, "Oh, right. Well, show me what you're eating." Oh, don't know. They never even chop the food, and I'm just like, look, you don't have to be right. You don't have to be like on MyFitnessPal scanning everything you eat. But just get a meal plan, eat the same shit every day, get it in your mind, and just eat. You know what you're eating. I know. I can tell you what I'm eating every single day. So I'm eating the same shit every day. It's easy. I know what I'm eating. I know what I'm buying. I just eat it. Eat it on autopilot. It makes you more productive doing that. And the third thing is you're not resting enough. This was a big thing, a big mistake for me. Like I just always love training. I love to train. I love the feeling of it. I love different gyms. But you know, you're not rest. You need to rest, especially if you want to grow muscle. You need to rest. Oh, but the hustle bros, no rest days, no days off. That's called training like a retard. Okay. Look what Dorian. Listen to Dorian Yates. What does Dorian Yates say? Mike Mentor. Oh, any bodybuilder. What do they all say? Apart from Rich Piana. But you know, like you have to rest. You have to grow. If you're not training enough, if you're not resting enough, sorry, you're not gonna grow. And like, yeah, oh, you might be a hustle, bro. I'm in the gym every day, but you need to rest as much as you grow. And this goes into nutrition as well. And some people are doing all of this wrong. Some people are doing all of this, and that's why you're not making gains. That's the top and bottom of it. That's how simple it is. And look, the final thing that I want to touch on, right, is just commit to the cut, commit to the bulk. I had a young man, 17 years old. So I'm saying that like I'm old. I'm not that old. I'm fucking 25. Anyway, this kid, 17, he says he's pretty tall. He's the same height as me, actually, quite skinny, and he's got a didn't have a six pack, but we were fairly lean, and he was been telling me about he's going to bench 100 kg in a month. I said, you're fucking delusional. Anyway, he said he said that now I'm cutting and I want abs. He says the huzz, you know, like talking about girls. He says the huzz want the abs, and I just said to him, listen, bro, I've been training 10 years. I've made all these mistakes, and I wish I had someone come just say to me, listen, young man, and tell me these things I've just shared with you and this, what I'm about to share. Listen, just focus on this. Don't worry about the type of exercise. Don't worry about the form. Those things are important, but they're not, you know, it's not going to be, you're not going to be an extra set of chest flies away from growing or not growing, yeah? Okay? So I wish someone had come to me this thing. I just said, listen to me. I've made all these mistakes. Do not do the 1 month bulk, 1 month cut, 2 month bulk, 2 month cut. Because what happens is you go like this and you stay the same. Commit to the bulk, commit to the cut. If you don't commit to it, you're not going to see it long enough. If you don't bulk, you're not going to put enough weight on. And what you're going to end up doing is just getting a little bit of weight on, losing it all from the cut, getting too skinny. You know, you're going to be in this cycle not making progress. So look, you know, if you're bulking, it's going to be much easier if you're training intense because you're going to get the results and you're not in a flipping big dirty bulk surplus. But either one you're doing, just commit to it. And look, the most common thing is should I bulk or cut? Because like for me, I was quite skinny fat at one point. Not really too fat, but I didn't have abs, and I wanted abs, yeah. But I had no muscle mass. But listen, if you've got no muscle mass, if you can't bench anything, or for example, if you've got no strength, you don't deserve to cut. You don't deserve it. You need to get some gains on. So eat clean and lift heavy. That's what you need to do. Okay. And this whole bulk thing, like I've got someone close to me, been training for longer than me, and he's just so fat. But he lifts, he's strong, he's got gains underneath, but he'll just never cut. Because he's got all these justifications for the bulk. It just makes no sense. But whatever one you choose, yeah, and take your ego out of it, just look at yourself objectively. Or just go and ask the biggest guy in the gym, what do you think I should do? Don't ask about gear, but ask what's the biggest thing I should do. And choose one and commit to it. Stop fucking about. So yeah, look. Raw, I'm doing these raw videos. Please let me know what you think. And I know that a lot of people are watching me, guys. I'm getting like 100 views, 200 views, 2K in a couple of videos. Listen, shout out you lot, 100 people. I couldn't imagine 100 people stood in front of me. And I'm getting about 10 to 15 to 20 likes on every video, yeah? So whoever you 20 people are, listen, I would die for you. And I mean that. Shout out you lot, yeah? And if you know me, I'm curious to know if anyone who knows me personally is watching my channel. So if you are, shout yourself out in the comments. But yeah, look, there's going to be a video coming up right about here. You need to take a watch after this one. But yeah, hope that helps. Let's get in the gym. Yep. Let's get in the gym, boys, and let's make some progress this year. All the best. Till next time.